Okay, I just did a search for Forex and I filtered the YouTube to say, give me everything this week. So I come up with this guy and I guess he's making some good points, but there's no way he's helping you to make money. Absolutely no way. And of course, he wants you to subscribe to his site, blah, blah, blah. And here he's talking about the trend. He didn't say the trend's your friend, so at least he didn't do that. But he's talking about the trend, and let's give a little listen here. And let me just attempt to critique this guy. Of course, I shouldn't have a problem, right? That's all. When I listen to people talk on the internet, I just wish I could talk right to him. So the only way I can really respond is through these videos.
Traders, we wanted to focus on that aspect, didn't we? We wanted to focus on the trend. No matter what sort of trading methodology you're using, you want to be taking chunks out of that outlying trend. Or, even better, you want to be getting into a position in the trend and maintaining that position in the trend as long as you can.
Okay, now that's right there is my first contention with this guy. You want to get into that trend and maintain as long as you can. Um, really? You want to ride this bull? Okay, so now let's just imagine that you've discovered at this point the trend's down. So you sell here, and this is a 4-hour chart he's running, I think. And okay, now your stop was too tight. Oh, you just got stopped out. If you sold on a breakout of this candle, so you're a breakout trader, you're like, oh, yeah, look, we just took that out. Well, the market makers and geniuses came out here and they probably took you out by 3 or 10 pips on this wick. You stopped in, you stopped out, boom, right? Well, I had a really tight stop in there because I don't want to lose too much money. This is how people are losing money. It has nothing to do with the trend. It has nothing to do with this analysis. And this guy, it's just a classic, typical approach to, yeah, in a perfect world. And then, of course, for an impatient person, it's very difficult. I'm impatient. I'm not gonna sit in this thing. Okay, I got broke out here. I put a stop above this, so I didn't get. No, I just risked like I don't even know what. I can't see his scale here on how much he's risking, but he's risking this, right? Now, as the market starts to go my direction, I'm like, well, look at I'm a genius, right? Now I run a trailing stop tight. I just got stopped out here, but I got in here. How much did I really make? Okay, now if I put a really generous stop on it, I'm waiting all this time to get down here, and I'm like, I'm staying with it, man. If I didn't move my stop from here, I guess I'm doing good. But look at how much money I'm leaving on the table. So it's all about money management and risk. It has nothing to do with this trend nonsense. Now, if I at this point see my moving averages tell me, and all my analysis and all my bag of tricks tell me that this is like, okay, we're in a downtrend, I should be selling. Yeah, if you're selling every 4 hours and you have like your stops up here, I mean, who's got this kind of money to blow in the market? And not to mention, okay, this thing, it's okay. You sold here because you're like, yeah, it's going down. Oh yeah, and look at this, another false breakout to the downside. This, if you didn't know this over here, you would just assume naturally that okay, this hammer just got taken out. We're going to go down and we're going to follow through, and bam, no, look, it came up and just destroyed your whole plan. Okay, now who's hanging in these markets? I mean, it's really your personality. There's nothing. You just have to be completely detached from how many pips, how many dollars. And here's another example. Okay, so you shorted here, you got down candle, I got in here, oh, just got raped again. So after you've gotten chopped to death in this sideways action, which 80% of the market's sideways, and this guy's telling me the benefits of trend trading, holy mackerel. So now I'm going to sell, you know, if you trade it opposite of what they tell you, you're going to make more money. So actually this breakout here, you want to be selling into that, right? If breakout traders got caught into that, market makers ripped it back up and cleaned your house. Then they finally, okay, when it takes out this, now you're down to like 30% on your account. You're just emotionally, if you're trying to trade in directions and you're saying, oh, you know what, bad news for this, bad news for that, look at my moving averages, everything says it's a go. You pull the trigger without regard to your risk to reward ratios. you're just getting your ass kicked all day long. And then here, okay, when you just given up on all the breakouts, this breakout here kind of pays off. But look at this rip back. This is a 4-hour chart. This wick here, that is so many pips. Now you're going to tell me that when this thing came down to here, you didn't take something off the table. Of course, he does describe scaling out, but that's really, you got to scale in and got to scale out. There's no way. I mean, it looks wonderful in hindsight. And you look at these wicks on here. Look at this pounding. This was going in historical prices, and they ripped it back, came up into here. It's a tactical. Trading's a tactical situation. It's not and then he goes on to well, here, let him talk.
And looking at those core market dynamics to know when to stay in or when to get out.
The core dynamics. Okay, well, he's not going to tell you that, and he doesn't even know.
Right? Rather than just taking 60 pips from the market or 100 pips from the market, right? You could be potentially taking 1,000 pips or 500 pips.
Okay. Instead of making a measly 100 pips or 60 pips, you could be taking 500 or 1,000. That sounds wonderful. How often do you see a 1,000 pip move in forex? Now, of course, presupposing that he's talking to people that got like 3 years to trade, and they're going to put on like 8 trades, right? I mean, it's almost like what he's talking about. And for God's sakes, man, if you're trading 5 standard lots and you just made 100 pips, I don't know, that's good money. Now, if you're trading in a micro account or a nano account and you're in all of a 10K a mini and you made 1,000 pips, hey, who made more money? The guy that was in a 10K at 1,000 pips, or the guy that was in for 40 seconds at 100 pips? And who's it's not that's how are you going to make money? It's how you going to make money. Forget the pips. How big are you in? Where's your stop? Where's your take profit? How often do you get a signal? How often do you get a setup? How often do you what time frame are you on? I mean, this thing could be going down on the weekly, but it's actually retracing 300 pips when it capitulates and it comes back. So, yeah, you could say I'm short this thing, right? I'm short, I'm short, I'm short. I'm loving it. Yeah, but you can see this is like he doesn't even have the time frame, so I can't tell. This looks like a week of just or half a week of just consolidation or redistribution. And then, yeah, it breaks out. Okay, so yeah, he identified this range, but he's not giving you any clue as to how you would get on there. Would you drill down to the 5 minute, the 1 minute? How much would you risk? How many contracts would you get into? How many lots? And that's really where all the money's made. There's people that are just banking on this pattern showing up, right? This just happens, boom, boom. And there's other people that are just like, you know what? This is a narrow range. I'm going to trade a breakout. I'm going to take my 10, 20, 40 pips, whatever, and get into the next trade. Take my 20, 40. But if you're banking, like you think this is like, oh, I'm trying trading, so I'm just going to stay in it. Yeah, you're going to buy and hold? Or are you going to sell and hold? Great. I mean, how can you? I don't know. I guess I'm not that. I guess I'm not that trader. I can't imagine sitting there and seeing that I'm up 3 grand and be like, "Yep, I'm gonna let that baby go." Or I'm up 10 grand. Oh yeah, let that go. No, you just dump the whole. There's so many places to get back in. Even here, if you dump this whole thing, or even bought here, comes back to here and you sell more. But the flexibility, it's mental flexibility. The problem with trend trading is there's no mental flexibility. You're like, it's going up, man, or it's going down. I'm only looking to trade it from one side. Well, if you're flexible and you have the ability to flip your mind back and forth, you're gonna be like Bruce Lee said, just be like water. You don't want to be resisting anything, up or down. Like yeah, sure, this is a big. This looks amazing here, but look at this. Who wants to lock up their margin in these damn long I made 1,000 pips. Yeah, but dude, it took you like 3 months. Come on.
600 pips. There is no limit with proper executed trend trading.
There's no limit. Oh yeah, so it's just going to go on forever. The trend's your friend.
If you are trading the trend properly and
properly. Well, he's not going to tell you that.
you're looking at the market dynamics to know whether to hold, stay in, or possibly just closing some partial profits and then allowing the remaining to run.
Well, that's the most genius thing he's said so far. And you've got to build a whole system about scalping into scalping. You got to be a scalper, a trend trader, a range trader. Now the market's ranging 80% of the time, so who's making more money, the range traders or the trend traders, right? And who's holding? Come on.
There is endless possibilities. And this is what I want to emphasize as well is I hear about it a lot from a lot of different traders out there is that the trend is it's only a very small amount of the market moves, and this is just it's not true. It's a myth, right? The market
Okay, it's a myth. Well, show me where it's a myth on here. And unfortunately, I can't zoom in out of its chart and show you all the examples that the market is range trading 80% of the time. Are you kidding me? And you're gonna point to this stuff. Well, I was on the right side of the trend. Well, how do you explain this? In other words, this thing just went down, and you're so greedy. You're looking for 600 to 1,000 pips. I'm staying in it. Yeah, right. But look at this. You didn't take something. Yeah, he does say I'll give him that. Partial profits. I'll give you that one. But for God's sakes, man, really, if you're selling here, you're gonna wait a half a week to get your head handed to you all the way up to here, and you had your stop above that, and you're like, oh, they got me. You got to think the other way, man. You got to think like a market maker. You got to think about sell limits above this, so when they trap these breakout, the classic, you know, retail trade breakout, right? Oh, buy stop, sell stop. 1 pip above, 1 pip below. We'll see what happens. How are these people? It's ridiculous.
moves in trends. In fact, the last 3 or 4 years have been trend, 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 trend.
Trend, 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 trend. It's always a, yeah, sure. If you zoomed out to the monthly, you're like, yeah, it's down, downtrend. Yeah, 80 black candles, 80 white candles. I mean, I can show you the Eurodollar right now. It's been going down in Akinashi terms for 13 months. I'm almost a year, right? Oh, where do you jump on that train? Are you gonna ride this bull? Really? I mean, ride this bear? Are you gonna ride this bear? Have him turn around and bite your arm off? Are you nuts?
Now, this is coming from a person that looks at trend evidence on a regular basis. And like I've emphasized before in previous weekly outlooks and reviews, I trade the trend the majority of the time. Of course, I'm looking for that path of least resistance. Trend trading is much easier, it's much more logical, and it's a lot more less stressful, right?
Stressful? Who's holding on to these things? I got a trailing stop up here. Let's see, I got in here. I moved my stop to break even, and I'm waiting about I'll wait 3 years.
And when we're getting into these moves that potentially can be giving more than 400, 500 pips, it's really going to help build the account that you're building as a trader. And it's going to get you, and it's not just that, it puts a really valuable aspect in your favor, and that's risk to reward. And I'm not going to
Okay, well, you can just write that up on a piece of paper. I got a 15 pip stop. I got a 25 pip take profit. I got a 50 pip stop. I got a 150 pip take profit. I mean, you gotta write that into your. If you're manually launching these orders, of course, you gotta write all that stuff down. Yeah, well, that's the devil's in the details there, buddy.
sit here rambling on about how valuable risk to reward is. I mean, every trader should know this. Every trader should know, and that's been following for a while, the value of risk to reward long term.
Well, that's all that really matters. In the end, that's all that really matters. How much are you willing to risk, and how big are you going to get in? And what can you psychologically handle from a stop out position if you got a 150 pip stop and you're in a standard lot? You want to do the math on that. Make sure you've got a boatload of money in your account. I mean, that's where it's at. Now you can have all these lines drawn in here, but nothing is going to save you from bad money management. Nothing.
It's a key aspect. If
Yeah,
you're
he's right
finding in your
there.
trading that you're getting
He's
less
20%
reward
right.
than the
He's kind of like
risk,
a
then you
trend
really need to
trader. When
assess your
the
trading.
market's trend 20% of
Really
the
need
time,
to.
he's right
And I've got to be
20% of the time.
blunt about that one because you can't go on long term getting smaller reward than the risk. You need to be able to assess it and say, hey, why am I getting smaller reward than the risk?
Too wide a stop, too narrow take profit. Okay. And that's all that really matters. You know, that's all that matters.